and we still have so many games to go.
The lower half of the leaderboard is still just absolutely neck and neck. And specifically, that last game also gave some life to some squads that were really looking for it.
That needed it, yeah.
Squads like Cerberus. And now it's going to be, okay, how good have you been doing navigating what's been going on in Tego? Because Tego, let's be real, has been pretty cruel to our players.
Tego, I mean, that's just kind of the way that it works, though, right? With a lot of the different areas that we've played, we've pretty much landed all over Tego, right? There's not an area that I feel like at this point, except for maybe the West Coast and Hapo, we've been all over the map. And a lot of that is due to how difficult it can be to rotate, especially if you're a late rotator, because of the way that the terrain is set up, because of the way that the cities are even set up, because you were kind of mentioning it yesterday with Toby, especially when we had that game kind of end in Songam, the cities are not as dense. So there's not as many buildings. On top of that, there's so many different rooftops you can potentially get to the top of. And that creates just such a dynamic way of play, different from what we normally see in like cities like even Pachinki, even cities that we've seen in Miramar as well.
For such a, I don't want to call it flat, but it is a pretty flat map.
It's fairly flat, yeah.
Just any level of verticality, getting up on top of buildings, those types of things just shift the entirety dynamic of a firefight. And it's one of the reasons why we saw the impacts inside of it in the last game. Just, what is it? I believe it was Alia. It was up on top, got a nade, and then just absolutely destroyed a squad.
Yeah, and so that will definitely come into play here as well, as we're now looking at these drops. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Again, seeing a hot drop at this point, especially in grand finals, is pretty much out of the question for a lot of these teams. As I say that, Na'Vi and Tai Lu very close to each other, but I don't suspect. Okay, Matt, this looks pretty familiar.
Look, you got mad because you didn't get it before, and you might be getting your wish now, as a couple of shots going to be coming out from Uba. It does connect on to him, but Army base in play, Shipyard, who was the
that game casting dreams, that man. was pretty wild. Wild is, I think, the perfect word to use there. As we see, speaking of wild, Alia is getting a little wild here, trying to get some damage and maybe a knock here early on to the team of Tai Lu, but they're actually just going to back off here as Na'Vi in a great position on the leaderboard currently find themselves tied in 5th.
Also, a good spot on this map is going to be Danawa. Going in the Yongshang area, that means the fact that they get a lot of good options to work through. The Expendables, not going to have to worry about losing a member early. 17 Gaming didn't kill off one of their members going for a vehicle, but they are going to be pathing up closer to the Yongshang area. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they cut more into the north. Also, Forest, our team from last game, is running a 2-2 split in Shipyard.
I don't even blame them after that. After watching that circle, I don't even think this is a bold play. I mean, anything at this point is possible on this map. As we also see a team coming into the rotation here, just to the center, off to the east is going to be the Expendables, which finally have 4 members up to start the game.
And this is the Fatty River, we need to point out, that's running through this one. And if anything, one of the more bulbous areas inside of it is going to be that area that's just south of Yongshang. And so with that, there's a lot of just very hard to navigate space. We were kind of alluding to this inside of our previous game that kind of went up here. The bridges up to the north of this aren't connected, so you got to make some wild rotations in that one. But even then, there's a bridge that's just right on the cusp down to the southwest that isn't traversable in the easiest of ways either. So this is a very 50-50 circle in behavior, and you have to assume that some of this river is still going to be in play.
And even you and myself and Toby have spoken about how difficult it can be to cross that river, not necessarily because of the depth of the water, but because of the terrain that's on either side of the coast. It's very difficult to play. There's really not much, and then that exacerbates the problem of so much water and so many bridges already being into play in the circle, Matt.
I'm also getting a bit concerned for TE here, as they're trying to find somewhere to get just comfy, but also looted. This is a very early rotation. Look at what they're working with right now. Everything that they're finding has already been claimed. Forest has gone for more of a regroup just to the north of them on that western side. Army base is open, but this is also kind of one of the bigger hillsides that we're going to be looking at that makes it to where it's harder to traverse up that hill. And so TE kind of caught in this no man's land of awkward positioning that they're trying to work around, as we do have Twisted Minds getting set up, and we've got Perfectix to get an idea on what's going on with their team.
Yeah, we're feeling good. We are confident, but we want to make more points and better results. We have a lot of analyze in other teams and training a lot of our aim. Yeah, I think it's possible. I will try to do my best, and I will be confident. Спасибо, ребят, что болеете. Спасибо всем, кто пишет приятные, всем, кто пишет гадости, ай-яй-яй. Вот. Вы лучшие, красавчики.
I mean, how can you not avoid clapping whenever that man appears on camera there?
He's a good dude.
Good dude.
Also disgusting.
Yeah. We did see him go on a bit of a tear on Atego.
Yeah, he had like, what, 2 back-to-back 9-kill games? That was utterly ridiculous. As he said, oh, we just also need to practice our aim. I don't know if perfecting his aim can get any better.
If he thinks that he hasn't hit the pinnacle, I am scared for this lobby the moment he says, yeah, I think I'm starting to get very happy with where my aim is, right?
And I mean, even where that team is, right? We saw Twisted go into lower bracket, which is something I don't think anyone expected. Everyone was expecting, especially with the mind that Batulin carries on that team, to pretty much just kind of breeze into winners. They went to losers. They qualified very, very handily, and now they find themselves on the top of the leaderboard. So this is what we expect from Twisted Minds.
Man, we got the lovers and the dreamers going on pretty hard right now. Open up your map if you have not, as it is a rainbow connection of teams. Everybody just spattered up. It's like an abstract art thing where it's just throw random colors up into this section. Is what, maybe a kilometer and a half, 2 kilometers of this map has near on everybody in it right now.
But here's the interesting thing about pointing that out, Matt. That means that everyone has actually bet on the fact that it's going to go to the big island there just below Army base.
Or not even just make a hard shift into the west.
Yeah, if this shifts south or to the east, it is going to be devastating for the teams that have actually set up in the middle, because getting out of that death trap is going to be hell.
This is where you learn from Friendly Fire inside of what happened to them whenever they used that emergency pickup to get in position. Hold it. Hold it in this position. No emergency pickups coming in too much, as it is going to be all that's going to go down. It's going to be DG that manages to pick that one up, and that's kind of surprising that is our first death, given how close these teams are to each other.
True, and Na'Vi, this is going to be another start where they're losing a member early. They haven't really been able to find their footing just yet here today as we head into the 3rd game. And I'm really surprised and curious to see if any of the teams are actually going to take a page out of LG's book and maybe just kind of take position just to the middle point of the island there, and maybe have a rotation either to the west or the east, depending on what the circle does.
Looks like FaZe might, yeah. They're kind of moving in from the south. Tai Lu has an eye over into the east, assuming the fact that most people are going to be going over there. Oh, QM also doing something similar. Forest, though, they do find themselves the capability of sneaking in and getting themselves a victory inside this last one, but they are going to be shooed away from Shipyard, as this was their home territory. They were in the process of leaving and going west, though.
They were, I think Master stayed a little bit too long, though, so that's going to cost them a player. As you have to know that rotations are coming in from a lot of the other teams, especially with how compacted this is going to be, especially because of how much water, again, is in this circle. There's quite a bit of unplayable terrain as we look at a team like Question Mark just slowly finding their way in. No rush for them, and I really love the approach they've had so far. They've been so patient with all of their rotations, as well as just their decision-making and team fights.
And I'm going to say, look at these circles that we're getting right now. You can't say anybody is just getting gifted circles. You're having to at least do something.
Even
to
teams getting gifted have to defend against like 3 or 4 crashes.
Yeah, this is just absolutely insane. And there's the shots that come out. And yes, it does look like FaZe is leaning to what you were talking about beforehand. Falcons are kind of navigating this area to the south, not quite inside the zone. Sonics did a wide wrap very far up to the north. They're going to find themselves rewarded with Army base for near on free. I don't even think it's been touched yet.
I don't think so either. But this, in circles like this, it's one of the benefits of actually rotating in late. If you're Question Mark, if you're Falcons, if you're FaZe, if you're Tai Lu, or even Sonics there, as you said, coming in on the north side of Army bases, you're able to see if it is indeed going to commit to that main island that they're all on, or if it's going to shift either south or to the east and cause some sort of a rotational disaster for a lot of the teams that have centered up early. And so if you are one of those teams that centered up early, you definitely want it to come to you. If not, you're going to be dealing with a lot of teams and a lot of chaos.
How much lottery tickets are you about to burn in your future as Tai Lu is committing into the east? They're saying, okay, everybody's probably playing the west. This is our safer approach. They are coming in late.
Which is smart.
For now.
For now.
If it goes east, man, just never again can you purchase anything like a lottery ticket or expect to win a prize. Every single time, you're going to get the worst prize out of the cereal box, right?
Possibly, yeah. I don't really think I got lucky with a lot of those.
I don't either.
So the more I think about it, I think I
didn't even get lucky with circles. When is that karma going to hit back for us?
I don't know. But, I mean, if you are a team like Tai Lu and you are in the east, you could potentially take a boat. We saw that when the last time the circle was around here, they actually would be able to wrap quite far to the north and pretty much get in on the bottom side of an area like Army Base, or even go all the way to the edge of circle. There's also some crates you're pointing out in the water. I don't think those are going to be a priority, as this one is going to center up. Okay, so nothing really funky here.
I was more pointing it out for the myth of, hey, you know, crates denote circles.
I see.
And I was pointing over there, but no, okay, it is going to go over into the hillside. Army Base is going to be in this, so all of our teams still kinda in this. It's going to be FaZe that's going to have to deal with an awkward move, 17, as well as Falcons. If anything, Falcons is a bit late in this rotation, and that might be a problem.
They are, but also it's going to be Jeems that's going to spot out the rotation. A question mark now is a doozy is going to be found, so that's going to be an early kill for FaZe, and they're going to be able to see exactly the type of rotation that question mark is interested in. Is Dante now going to try to take some shots at Jeems? He will be okay, and so I imagine they're going to pull back. And when we look at the circle, the center is occupied by Cerberus. This, again, is one of those areas where it looks like it's a massive mountain, but it's really quite gradual on the approach from all directions. And so that's going to be somewhat difficult for teams to hold, especially if you're at the peak. Cerberus has, though, shown us in the previous game that it ended around this area that they're able to fight on multiple fronts.
I do like this from question mark. Not a big commit in, just go, okay, let's just go ahead and get out of here.
Lost one,
circle is a big priority. Let's be honest, if you're rotating from all the way into no man's land into this circle and one is the most you lose, I'd almost consider that value.
It's not the end of the world. This question mark will lose. I mean, they will lose a doozy who's been putting in a large amount of work. Is now Thanadol here, T5 just below Twisted, in a position where they're also in between Na'Vi. So if a fight breaks out here, Twisted has to be very aware that a third party might be on the table for them, as Na'Vi is just on their north.
It is just everybody has left Yongxion right now and just trying to make their way into the hillside, realizing that this is, we need to get footholds in early. Question mark, though, do go for a bit of a stop off to see if they can get some shots into FaZe, slow them down, but FaZe instantly jumps out of their vehicles. Everybody cresting up that hill. Best of luck. Going to regret that one.
And this, I mean, this is good for the rest of the lobby, right, Matt? Because they are a team in first place, and they're actually just eliminated. And so that cushion, that lead that they have, will very quickly start to shorten, or start to shrink.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Gill can give you something, but it feels like Tego's just going to take it away. As now Twisted Mind's having to walk right into a very tangled situation in between Danoa. Na'Vi's going to be up on this hillside. They've got to be careful about that when Nade's getting prepped out. As Flush is going to go ahead, get taken care of, and that is going to go over to Twisted Minds.
Yeah, Na'Vi as well, very close to Danoa as they're starting to kind of crunch on the position here of Twisted. T5 still as well. Again, Twisted Minds is in the middle of a lot of teams at pretty much open terrain, and so they have to be very careful with how they approach this. Is now 4 Angry Men. Xiao Lu will find a knock onto Danoa, and a lot of teams starting to close on this position here in the center towards the top of the hill.
A butterfly flaps its wings, and it's making the chaos carry down. As now we saw Danoa have to shift away from Na'Vi into Twisted Minds. Now 4 Angry Men going to get vision on them. Let's not forget it is going to be Jin Ji also coming back behind Danoa right now, and this is I feel for Danoa. This is probably the worst squads you could potentially want to be surrounding you, right? Yeah. And this isn't even a sandwich. This is like, I don't know, like a stuffed crust pizza at this point that they're in the thick of.
Those are actually kind of delicious, though. Eating a pizza backwards is pretty fun, as Danoa is not having any fun at all. Look at how many grenades, as Loki will somehow survive.
I mean, what do you even do? Look at how many people are around you, how many squads, and the aim that is just on every single one of these. The circle does pop, still keeps in a big chunk of Army Base itself, shifts into the north, has some of the coastline in it as well, but unfortunately, that means that Loki has to move just a bit further forward to be in the zone, but that also is not where you want to stay.
And now just to add to the problems that Danoa is having, Gen G has now started to poke their way into this fight, looking in the direction of 4EM to the south, as well as trying to get a wrap. Taman actually going for a really wide off angle to maybe get some damage onto 4EM and start finding some knocks, as this has just become chaos in the southeast.
FaZe, you can see, doing a big wrap. They're going to be coming in. 17 Gaming not wanting to commit into what was going on over there. They're going to wrap up into the north as well. Falcons do have some pathings for them to work with. And this is Loki's life. This is going to be Loki's life until probably somebody sees his feet.
Yeah, or someone pushes up that hill and just sees the whole angle on him. But Gen G still trying to constrict here onto 4EM. And all these teams are eventually going to have to contend with Twisted Minds, because they're also the edge. And if we look at even towards the west, we see Falcons coming in. We see FaZe coming in with a little late in the blue, and then 17 have actually taken complete control of the West, Matt.
While this is terrible for what's going on with Danawa, it's also really bad for 4 Angry Men because they can't move forward due to the firefight that was happening over here. Gen G, they have one member that's already inside the zone. They've got the foothold. The other 3 members moving very far down the south. Taman is way over to the east, just even still trying to make sure that there is no potential for 4 Angry Men to wrap up into the north. He's going to spot out Tyloo, take some shots in, but now 4 Angry Men, their pathing options are near on nil.
No, they're using a lot of utility already. Many smokes out of their pockets as they do have 2 members knocked. Xiao Pan is just desperately trying to recover here and maybe go for a reset, but again, with all the angles against them, it's going to be difficult for 4EM to make it up this hill, and this is what I was talking about. That gradual incline is really not that great, especially for your team on the back foot.
The only benefit that 4 Angry Men has is going to be Falcons and T5, who are getting pretty close to each other in this. It means that Twisted Minds also has to start keeping an eye on what's happening just to the west. That is where Perfectix has got his sight line into. Falcons, though, they don't want to fight at this stage. They just wanted to get a bit more information. You can see already shifting away from it. That means that T5 couldn't have pathing in, but that is going to be bad for Twisted Minds as they're going to have a new target right up on top of them while they're still having to deal with 4 Angry Men and potentially some Gen G sightlines.
Yeah, well, 4AM have actually used this kind of distraction there that T5 was able to create with Falcons to start to make it up the hill. In fact, they have. They've made it right on the bottom side here of Twisted Minds. Lou should be able to see this. In fact, Lou is going to be in a lot of danger here as he's taking damage here from Xiao Lu.
It's the Lus versus each other right now, and seeing if who's going to be able to shoo the other one away. All pressure, though, all of the problem is going to be going on to the 4 Angry Men side. Taking those shots and does stall out his positioning, but that's almost kind of a mixed blessing. Him being stopped there means the fact that he has an angle on what 4 Angry Men is trying to do into their approach into the zone.
Gen G will still hear this, right? The one member of Danawa Loki is just surviving as much as he can. This will shift straight up towards the mountaintop terrain as a lot of teams now interested in this fight here as Falcons now taking shots back and forth. It'll be Thanadol, though, that finds DraftKings.
T5, when they're on no cover, instead, they're just going to use their aim. The bullets themselves going to provide them the cover and the way to work with this one. Capitan, though, with that high ground, is going to exploit that. But we do have Hatsawat that's trying to flank in, see if maybe he gets more damage into Capitan. But you can see, where do you go if you're T5? While this is going on, Twisted Minds hears this. They're shifting in, and they want to be right up on top. They realize that they can pounce into it, and they're going to get some damage in as well. Now, Falcons, damage being done onto their side. Sills at least wants to get Capitan, but not going to be able to get it. He's going to go down too.
No chance at all. The time of which Twisted has decided to strike was wonderful as they've been able to not only clean up T5, but now put quite a bit of pressure on the Falcons. They know that they're down members. Emmy has to back off, but he's about to run into Na'Vi.
Man, do you see him pop the brakes on that one instantly? Nope, you can have that one here. Twisted Minds making the shift into the Falcons and T5 line, though, does mean that it's going to be more of an opportunity for 4 Angry Men and what we were talking about beforehand. They did shift more into the northeastern area, still right up on top of Gen G. North also about to pop off as we do, well, actually, with the Gen G situation, we have Tyloo that's also trying to maneuver into that same area, so that could be another potential firefight. While in the north, we do have the Expendables that could be pathing into the Sonics, or potentially, if you mind, Game PT.
Yeah, it's going to be the Sonics that could potentially hold that edge, as you were saying, from the Expendables. But I'm also looking at an open opportunity for 4AM, who have been the ones getting third party and pinned down to start to third party against that fight. You were talking about Tyloo and Gen G, as now Shen is trying to open up this fight with a knock. But I still worry. Loki could strike, and he does. He finds 755.
Gets the knock at the worst time for Tyloo. They have to shift all of their attention back this direction. The Thorn in the side, seeing if maybe he can get another point here or there. He's near on doom. He's going to go out, but that stalls Tyloo at the worst possible time.
Gen G now with the ability to recover. Maybe DG is the rest of the members here starting to collapse. They realize that it's better to go towards the circle, hold from there rather than fight in the blue for this long. But Pio is now going to be trapped behind the rock. He's going to see Shen just make it behind that tree.
Shen had the angle onto him, though. Tyloo just running, chasing, and can they catch up to the blue? Pio has to retreat. We know that he's so good at this whole duck and cover strategy. He often finds himself in isolated positions. Can he manage to hold up against Tyloo that just has no options and has to just push him as hard as possible? Nade's going to be coming out. You can see it is going to finally connect. He's going to go down. Gen G just doesn't have the angles. The building providing the cover for Tyloo, and they navigated that one so well. EJ, though, can he get vengeance? Gets the knock, but he's going to go down as well.
And a trade, it's just down to DG98. How much damage can he do? He'll finish off Tyloo, and he might even be able to carry EJ to safety as Gen G with a nice recovery, especially with the good utility usage out of Tyloo to push PO out of position and actually get the knock and flush on it. But look, Mel is going to see this.
High ground vision coming up big. Gen G is going to go out, and that's more control for Na'Vi. They have gotten themselves a nice lockdown position into the southeast. 4 Angry Men, the new potential target that they're going to have to deal with. Looking up into the north, you can see that there's also some big moving factors in TE trying to just get away from what was going on with Sonics. They're going to go ahead and go down. Sonic should have a path into the circle. Forest going to be pretty close to them. Na'Vi's split, though, going to cause a problem for potentially Twisted Minds, 4 Angry Men, and Forest.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hold it against all the teams coming at the same time. They might be able to do it for a little bit, but as you said, Twisted Minds on the south side going to start pushing in, and Sonics are going to look for an opportunity in as they have quite an open run, and GP is fully focused on them. But look, you even have Forest as well starting to come on, and 4 AM now on the east side.
4 AM spot out all the crates. They're going to do a quick stopover before they get involved in this one. Sonic's wishing that they would just have made that crash to the back. Forest right now, just a rock, and that's their only real safety that they've got. They don't have too far that they have to move in this zone. Forest does hear this. They've shifted down to the south. Na'Vi is also regrouped over here a bit more, and Sonic's firing lines with I gotta say, Game PT doing a good job of just securing almost everything in the north.
Yeah, they've got a nice spread in the north. They realize they have the majority of the control here as Cerberus now taking the fight to 17. They've been knocked quite a bit on the west side as they came in a little later, and Duck Mai will find the flush on a Zhao Bei.
With this firefight, also Twisted Minds using the opportunity in the south to move in. The other members of 17 Gaming kind of caught out, not realizing, okay, what's our best strategy? We know that Cerberus has got this point on lock. Twisted Minds going to have the south have to contend with. Sonic's going to go ahead and move into a vehicle, and they're going to roll right up next to Forest. They're going to have to just essentially jump out of this directly into a firefight. Scappy's going to go ahead and throw down some of this utility. Blue Zone's going to slow it down just a bit. Also hit the shot on the head. A headshot into this one off the start. Scappy, man, he is a scrappy mid-game fighter, and look at this. Forest just denies anything that Sonics were trying to do.
Just like that, using the momentum there from the last game to continue to fight. We've really seen Forest start to come alive. Like, as you said, Olympus and Scappy have been huge for this squad. As Scappy isn't done, he'll find the knock on the Crazy as well. 4 Angry Men wanting to try to pounce. That fight finished too fast as Forest going to have a ton of nades landing next to them. Oh, it's Blue Zone, I think.
Yeah. The good read on that. He saw, realized what it was, shifted away from it. 4 Angry Men, though. It does look like they are going to be able to get Crazy back up. But Scappy, man, whenever he doesn't have much ammo to work with. Fortunately, though, Sonic's just delivered a whole bunch.
Yeah, Sonic's delivered a lot of gear. I'm not sure if they should be able to at least loot a little bit here, but as a two-man facing against a strong 4 AM, it's going to still be difficult. Xiaolu looking for the angles. They need to clear out Forest so they can start focusing on the other team there to their west, and that's going to be Na'Vi.
Can't even see the Forest through the trees right now due to the amount of opponents that are coming after him, as it is going to be If You Mind Game PT getting the finishing touches onto him. Circle does shift away from If You Mind's positioning, so now going to be much more down in that Twisted Minds 17 Cerberus line.
And Twisted Minds have been on the south this entire time, slowly rotating back and forth between west and east as they stay on the south side, and they've cleared out pretty much every other team, and they're pretty unencumbered as well. They have good armor still. Their utility probably isn't that bad, and most importantly, they still have 4 members alive.
Considering how wild it's been over into the east, 4 Angry Men still having the members up and navigating that so well, kudos where kudos is due. Twisted Minds, though, also come from that same area, sitting at 7 kills right now, and they have themselves a strong control point. Little Ghost, last one up for 17 Gaming. Looks like they're just trying to scout out where he is right now. Shots are going to come out on Spyro, get him down. Oh, wow, nice angle being held, but it's going to be Perfectix on the other side. Steps in to defend his team when needed.
Potentially dangerous there. Twisted Minds will clean it up, and they will get Spyro back up as well, but Cerberus now aware of what's happened here and not going out, and they will try to push the pace. As Example will find one and do quite a bit of damage to HSMM as they are now on the back foot here, and they're not even in circle as they fight. The grenade will flush Xiaolu.
HSMM just has to retreat away from that one. Crazy. Xiaoyan also has some angle down into this, but yes, we do have Game PT making their way. His car is just not going to be there for cover anymore. It's decided it wants to go down that hillside. Na'Vi also has to deal with this as they're back behind what's going on with 4 Angry Men, and all of this, they still need to make a path into the zone, and there is just nothing that they can find to work with. Oddly enough, it's going to be Lou at range that spots out 4 Angry Men across the circle, doing some decent work.
And I really like the aggression here. Game PT with a beautiful nade there. there will clean up 4 AM, but again, they've been the benefactors of the circle in the north, and they have really start to spread out and control all of this circle, especially on the east side, and all they have to do now is just get rid of Na'Vi.
Just look at how Game PT is shooting up that leaderboard right now. Every single kill just massive for them. Sitting at 7 right now, and eyes on the prize. It's going to be even higher. So they still have so much of the circle that they're controlling. They know that Na'Vi is going to be weakened over here, but it's going to be a hard area to start to push into. Remember, Twisted Minds up on that hillside does have some vision on this pathing.
Problem is though, they can't get as aggressive as they want because of Cerberus's position, and they know as soon as they start to step out, Cerberus will come in and try to go for a backstab, and so for the time being, they will just hold on the south and control as much as they can while trying to dictate the fight between GP and the last 2 members of Na'Vi. But again, Cerberus, a big threat still.
Things kind of slowing down a bit more.
They've actually backed off, though, a lot more than I thought they would.
And I feel like this is a, okay, realize that this could be our game kind of moment, right? They are in the west. They don't have to deal with a lot of what's been going on over into the east. Twisted Mind's going to be down to the south of them, has been creating some problems. But instead, really, it's going to be if you mind Game PT that's been the big moving factor in this.
Yeah, then they, again, they've dictated a lot of the control here in the circle, especially in the north side. They're also going to get another shift, and I actually agree with you. Cerberus could be like, you know what, we had a good game last game. Let's not fully commit to everything and make sure we're taking our time, because I think that has been the thing that's been the detriment to Cerberus, especially coming to grand finals. They haven't been as measured as maybe they should have been, but they're at least going to survive for now with 3 members, and now they're going to make their way to the north side wrap in the circle, which is going to be a nice position for them to play. Meanwhile, it's going to be Twisted actually coming on the south side as they're going to find a knock on a Game PT and start pushing the pace because they also want to take control of the south.
Hush in a very interesting position just to the side of this. He's trying to reposition, see if maybe he can catch some crossfires on anybody that's going to be moving in. Hasn't quite gotten the angles that he wants. The hillside's going to provide enough cover. Twisted Mind's doing a great job on just kind of maneuvering down into this one. And now it is going to be, if you mind Game PT, finding themselves in a much more pinched position. Cerberus navigating the crates. They're going to be coming up from the north. Perfectix also just with the perfect aim every single time for his squad.
Also just so good at finding the perfect angles, right? Holding that east side wrap, realizing that there's going to be a member there of GP in Hush, try to make it back to his team. And so that's going to be 1 member to fall as they're going to find a second. Batulin will find Daku.
And at the exact same time, they've got Cerberus behind them. If you mind Game PT just trying to cling to life, they've managed to pick up a ton of kills, but there is no cover. Every single time you're trying to get away from one angle, it's going to be the other squad. On top of this, Twisted Minds now making their way up to 10 kills as Haisaki's is going to stop the last one, but a nade's going to go off right up on top of him. Twisted Minds could use this opportunity to pounce.
Hello, using a martyrdom situation there, dropping that nade and still just handing over so much control to Twisted as they are trying to close this one out. 10 kills, as you said, and all the control in this circle, Matt.
Perfectix on this flank is going to be able to put in so much work. Duckmine just trying to get a drop onto Spyro right now. Can't connect with the shots. The push is just going to provide enough cover. Finally going to connect in as 2 members looking into now 3 on Twisted Minds, but this flank has me terrified for Cerberus.
One of those members is Tycon, and he is so impressive in these final circle situations. His aim is ridiculous, and that knock from Batulin could open the door here as Lou now is in a position. It's a 2-on-2, Matt.
Slowing down the pacing just a bit more, trying to use the nades, trying to force people away from the angles. Twisted Minds still sitting on a pretty strong set of positions that they can kind of win from. Perfectix, though, very far to the north. That's one of the reasons why we haven't seen a lot of these Rage Escape coming out just quite yet.
That's huge.
And yeah, this is what I was terrified of. Perfectix finally revealing himself, that snake biting right at the most opportune time, as it is just going to be Duckmine, last one up.
Tycon was going for an angle that potentially would have given him a nice array of shots there on to Perfectus, but he was able to find that. Lou now safe, and it is down to a 2-on-1. The impact of that knock cannot be overstated, as Lou is pretty much aware where Duckmy's current position is, but he's also in a 1-on-1 isolated angle.
And I love this. Perfectix leaving his back angle onto this one, moving in, trusting in Lou, saying the fact that you can defend this one up. Let's get a very strong numbers advantage in. We've got plenty of time. It's still phase 8, guys. We're not even in circle 9 yet. No need to try to make any type of rush. Shot's going to come out, not going to quite connect enough to get the knock onto it, just trying to run into the hillside. Blue zone nades going to come out, create a bit of a problem for Duckmine to have to work around. It is also going to slow down Twisted Minds, though.
This is a 3-on-1, though. That nade was perfect. Perfectus, as he raises his hands, Twisted Minds with a disgustingly effective hold on the south side.